Hello, dear friends. Here we are. Your thought, your life. 30 days of inner journey, and this is day 20th. Whoa, 20 days studying this amazing book, Thought and Life, through the spirit author, Emmanuel, psychographed by Chico Xavier. Here we are. This has been 20 days. This is January 23rd. And the amazing Emmanuel brings to us in this last third of the book a differential component to this book. If we could summarize this book in three major components, we're gonna see that first he lays the foundation of how our mind works and the mental life of all of us. In the second part of it, he is talking about ourselves in an incarnate life and the dynamics of it and how our minds enter this realm. Now in this last third of the book, he's gonna talk about the different virtues, the different components of our lives that are going to boost tools that can make a difference in our lives in an incarnation. Not only in an incarnation, but this is a book that is meant to help us, especially in an incarnate life. Okay? Discarnate spirits study it, preparing for an incarnation. Here we're studying to boost our lives on the earth. This is a therapeutic journey. So today, chapter 20 is about habit. A word that is so commonly spoken, but as everything in Spiritism, what is common becomes new, becomes different. And are you ready for the new, for the different? I think you are. So let's say hi to our community. So good to be almost wrapping up a day in the East Coast and continuing a day in Brazil or elsewhere and being together. Hello, Karina and Jussara. It's great to have you all here. Hello. And Valéria, amazing Valéria. You turn on the alarm clock to be here with us from Brazil. What a discipline way of living. Mamma mia. Hello, Adilson and Patrícia, Leia Severo, Rihanna. Hello, Rihanna. I got your email and we're going to launch a book drive very soon, okay? For you in South Africa. So you and the group, we're connected to you and we'll stay in touch. So friends, habit. Let us listen to Emmanuel. But you know, it's important how we listen to it. We cannot be listening to these messages like we used to do in the past. We need to prepare ourselves. It's about feeling. Knowing the scriptures is not enough. We need to feel them. Like for example, in a previous chapter we learned that selfless giving begins where duty ends. We could meditate and write a whole thesis today at the Spirit Side of Virginia. We had a beautiful meeting with our core team who studies, and we have a physician there, Leticia Klausner, and she was mentioning to us the difference between a dutiful physician and a selfless giving physician. A dutiful physician, she said, would see you, the patient, saying, oh, I have a sore throat. And the dutiful physician would say, okay, this is the antibiotic. You can go home. A selfless giving physician would sit down, ask how are you, look at you in the eye, etc., and go on. And then after 30 minutes, then prescribe the antibiotics or something else. It's very interesting to meditate where our duty ends and where we can walk that extra mile that Jesus mentioned. By the way, yay, he's here with us. And we're saying he's here with us figuratively in the picture, but to remind ourselves that these teachings that Emmanuel brings to us contain the universal consciousness, the cosmic consciousness, the Christ consciousness, and he is the role model for us. Okay? Let's read. Chapter 20. Habit. Habit is the accumulation of mental reflexes whose function is to induce routine. We inherit thousands of years of repeated experiences, each one similar to the other. Up to now, we have been like a boat carried away by a river of habits to which we have offered no resistance. Therefore, with few exceptions, we have become consumers of other people's thoughts by an automatic reflex action of the mind. Consequently, we exaggerate our needs and refuse to adopt simpler standards of living which could make our life easier. We then become defensive regarding our demands and cruel towards our neighbor, and when we hurt that person, we hurt ourselves. This also causes us to create a complex mechanism of caution and distrust that reaches beyond the need of self-preservation. We become passionately possessive, thus creating mental reflexes of egotism, pride, and fear in a vain desire to elude divine laws. In most instances, we act like inattentive and unfaithful workers who neglect the valuable resources which allow us to serve with dignity. Instead, depressed and disquieted, we bring suffering upon ourselves. In general, the human race lives this recurring cycle of ignorance and does not want to counteract it. We seek to deceive ourselves after birth, only to become completely disillusioned after death. Thus, we are imprisoned in the confines of an illusion-disillusion syndrome. Century after century, we return to tread the same road from where we were expected to go forward. However, we should not by any means disregard the constructive routine. Through it, people evolve in space and time to attain the resources that dignify their lives. Evolution demands that we develop new habits, that we detach ourselves from lower forms and walk towards higher stages of existence. This is why we see in Christ a divine landmark of human renewal, a whole program of basic spiritual transformations. Without violence of any form, he altered the moral standards by which the earth had lived for several thousand years. He offered the practice of forgiveness to replace systematic condemnation, and to replace the usual racism, he offered the concept of genuine brotherhood. To uplift sadness and discouragement, he gave us the Beatitudes as a comfort to the afflicted who know how to wait, and to the righteous who know how to suffer. Jesus' apostleship becomes a resplendent set of reflexes aimed at the redemption of the human way. He taught the virtue of simplicity when he began his pilgrimage amongst humanity that originated in the manger. His death on the cross taught us serenity, patience, and belief in the resurrection and eternal life. Even now, justice in the world spells revenge, and love is tainted with selfishness. This is due to our unreasonable attitude during all the millennia that preceded today. However, we cannot ignore the fact that only kindness and understanding reflect true happiness, and it is then that we nurture real goodness. We have the obligation to educate ourselves and to serve, creating these everyday habits by cooperating in the safety and happiness of all beings, even at the cost of our own sacrifice. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's not trivial. When we think about the literacy, how this is all put together, it's not trivial. If I sit down, even if I do lots of research, it's very hard to have this level of objectivity. Scientists tend to be very extensive about their thoughts. With Spiritism, we learn to be concise, to be precise in such a way that in 2 pages, Emmanuel describes to us a new way of understanding habits. Let's do an inner check, okay? How often do we tell ourselves, oh, it's so hard to create new habits. It's so hard to, a new year just started. It's been 23 days into the new year, 2017. And we are like, oh, resolutions, how do I get to achieve them? So hard to create new habits. It's so difficult to change old habits. Because we think it's behavioral. Our approach is mistaken. Emmanuel today, even if you don't want to read the rest of the chapter, in the first sentence, he gives to us the recipe and the understanding, the mechanism of habit creation in the mind. I don't stop smoking by not smoking. I stop smoking in my mind first. I don't stop in talking about talking bad about people when I open my mouth, so I shut down my mouth. I need to stop it in my mind first, in my feelings first. Pause. Hello, Angelita. Hello, Maria Edith and Anna. Judson, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, dear soul. Now you're here, let us grow. Let us love, let us serve. Let us help everyone. Welcome, welcome, dear soul. And I'm here to love you so. This is a song we sing for the kids, the little ones, the babies, and also the toddlers, and for all of us too. Friends, habit is the accumulation of mental reflexes. This is completely new. I've been studying behavior my whole professional life in the neurobehavioral sciences, and I tell you one thing, this definition is not going hand in hand with science. Science doesn't know that yet, okay? This was written in 1958, And to date, it's still at the vanguard of science. Science doesn't yet define habit as an accumulation of mental reflexes. Science sees habit as something related to behavior. No wonder it's very, very hard to change, because we're not going to the source. Hello, Tuani. Aha, good seeing you there. And I bet Luciana is somewhere there, right? So it's good to have you here too. Have you thought about this? In behavioral sciences, psycho-behavioral sciences, behavioral psychology, we have lots of models on how we change behavior. Even medicine and dentistry, health sciences, they adopt different approaches to helping and encouraging patients to change their behavior. One of them, which is very famous, is what we call the trans-theoretical approach. And it's very, very interesting because it talks about how you identify in the patient or in the person how they are in a pre-contemplative state. So it's useless to go there and change anything. You only work with them in the mindset of change when they feel like contemplating the change, and then they are ready for the change, and then they're absorbing, and then they need to maintain in order to keep it forever. So it's interesting to observe that science still, and I'm gonna say believe figuratively, works on habits from a behavioral perspective. Spiritism brings to us the missing link, saying it's in the mind. If you want to change habits, it's in the mind. Change it first, what you're thinking and feeling, and then you're going to see manifested in words and in actions. How about that? Now it's more tangible. Yeah, in many ways. Therapeutic moment. Since this is a 30-day inner journey, pick one habit you'd like to, not to change, but let's talk about a new habit you want to acquire, okay? Emmanuel's going to talk about how we evolve, how much our evolution depends on new habits. So pick a new habit you want to acquire. Think about it. What is a habit that you want to create? You want to acquire? What is it? You don't need to tell me. You can, but you don't have to. Think about it. Feel it. What do you do with it? First, we need to make it clear. That's where the human experience makes all the difference. We only acquire new habits if we put our minds to it, meaning consciousness. So, what do I want to do? Let's say I would like to give 1 hour of my day to helping people who are at risk. I want to do this every day for the rest of this life, no matter what. It's a habit. 1 hour every day. Oh, I don't know where to begin. Now we know. It's here in the mind. Oh yeah, it's right here. Not inside the brain, but figuratively in the mind, which is not in the brain. We know it. The brain, as André Luiz says in chapter 9, part 1 of the book Evolution in Two Worlds, the brain is actually the seat of the mind, but not the mind in itself. It's the manifestation of the mind. It's where we express it, but not fully. So first of all, visualize yourself acquiring that habit. How? Visualize it. I, Vanessa, you, Tuani, and Sara, and Anna, Maria Dite, Angelira, Dilson, Rihanna, Leia, Patrícia, Valéria, Karina, and everyone else who comes in later watching it, like Sunshine. She said she has a meeting. So I visualize myself every day going to Washington, D.C., to Franklin Square Park, talking friendly to the homeless. Every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I visualize myself doing that every day, every day. If I have any resistance, when I say that, I need to work on it. Oh, but I'm not going to be able to do it every day. So then you need to make it real. Every day is not possible. Once a week then. Once a week, I'm going to do this. And I create a habit. In my mind first, accumulation of mental reflex. It means I need to think of something several times, frequently, intensively, to accumulate and manifest in a habit. I want to stop smoking. So I visualize myself not smoking. Without any cigarette on my hands, without willing to smoke. I want to go on a diet. So I go on a diet first in my mind. Oh, Vanessa, but it's easier. You can still eat the chocolate. You can still eat the bread. You can still eat the pizza. But you're already imagining, and I'm going to spend 2017 accumulating mental reflexes of my diet. No, don't wait 2017. We need to go to action. But it's an opportunity for us, right? Let's think about this. How we can actually go there in our thoughts. Kardec talks about it in the book Genesis. He says to us, first we create thought forms, photograph of our thoughts. I create it. And then as I frequently think about it, these thought forms are gonna saturate my mental body, the perispirit, and then they're gonna manifest. So if I think of health, what's gonna happen? Health. If I think of joy, joy. If I think of goodness, goodness. And that's how it is. The beauty of accumulating beautiful thoughts. Some people tell me, Vanessa, I am afraid of thinking positively, of thinking constructively, and I'm afraid that I'll be frustrated when life does not bring me what I need. Yogananda, in a beautiful universal thought, before Emmanuel brought to us this book, meaning Yogananda probably was already there being prepared in the schools of regeneration or other major schools, he brought the universal truth to us. What did he say? If you think about something and it doesn't happen, keep thinking. Do not give it up. Get that fear. Get it from your heart. Literally from your hand. Trash it out. Get it? Trash it out. Fear? Why fear? If God loves us, we're destined to progress. Sooner or later, good things are supposed to happen, but we need to co-create it. We need to believe in it. As Jesus said, I always prefer to believe in the good. Emmanuel says, to free ourselves from the shackles of the past, we must seek the good. We must feel the good. We must visualize the good and mold our lives to the good. These are literally his words in this book, Thought and Life. It's a must. He's saying, seek the good, feel the good, visualize the good, mold your life to the good. Right? Hello, Constance. How are you? You're working now. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Beautiful work to you. Elizabeth, thank you. Thank you for being with us too. You have to wake up, but Karina, Mamma mia, 3 hours. I know you're in Brazil, right? If you're feeling good, keep staying here, okay? But feel free to do whatever you need, okay? Sending beautiful thoughts to the body. Beautiful thoughts. Habit is the accumulation of mental reflexes, and it induces us to routine naturally. And we inherit thousands of years of repeated experiences. Friends, when you look at your life today, when I look at my life, don't be frustrated, disappointed. Say, you know, I have planted seeds like thousands of years, and these are the things I'm harvesting today. What? Nothing? Oh, my love life. Still empty. Maybe thousands of years now working on acquiring habits that will lead us to harmonious relationships. Oh, my work. I don't see the fruits. Friends, thousands of years. He's saying we inherit thousands of years of repeated experiences. In the book, 2,000 years ago, Emmanuel shows to us something we cannot forget. He shows how a previous life of his, as also a senator, Publius Lentulus Sura, he was his own grandfather. And he learned that we learned with him how much of the rigidity of that man, the grandfather, is still in his current personality. He's better. He's not as cruel, but still rigid. How about you? Instead of looking at our parents and blaming them, saying, oh my gosh, I'm like this today because my parents. You are the heir of yourself. I am inheriting thousands of years of repeated experiences. What are the things we have repeated the most? Can you tell? Can you tell at least one thing you think you have been bringing as a habit from many lives? This is a therapeutic journey. We're not learning for learning. Knowledge for knowledge doesn't help us if we don't feel it, said Jesus to Nicodemus. So what do you think? Can you recognize one current, it could be a good or a bad one, doesn't need to be a bad one. For example, I like teaching. Universities, schools, anywhere. I am 100% positive. I've been doing this for a while. I'm not going to say thousands of years, but for a while. I've been there. I like it. It doesn't need to be bad. Do you recognize at least one habit that you maintain to date that has been a repeated experience for many lives? Think about it. You're a millennial. You're more than millennial spirit. You're immortal. You have been living for zillions of years since God created you. So he says, up to now we have been like a boat carried away by a river of habits to which we have offered no resistance. So he's saying, to date, we're living just like a careless boat, like no direction. The habits are pushing us to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left. And then we crash on an iceberg and we're like, pay attention. You're the pilot of your boat, the mind, though we're co-pilots with God. But with few exceptions, and he's going to add elements to it. This chapter is so new to us. I've rarely found an explanation, even in the Spiritist, so clear, in the whole Spiritist literature, that is so concise, precise, and descriptive of habit. Accumulation of habits. And he says, we've been carrying this for years, and he adds one more element, the collective mind. He says, with few exceptions, we have become consumers of other people's thoughts by an automatic reflex action of the mind. Of the collective. It's time for us to think. What are we doing? Can I give you an example? May I? Mentor Joseph is asking me to share this with you. These days we're living a new government in the United States, on the earth. Difficult in many ways to accept several things. But did you see a major positive thing that President Donald Trump did today? And we Spiritists need to acknowledge, need to take our hats off and say, thank you, good job. He put a stop on the funding for foreign organizations who were involved in abortions. He put a stop. Thank you very much. I know some people don't understand why, but we Spiritists do. Are we going to acknowledge it? Or are we so tribal? You know, that tribal feeling that comes from many lives? If I belong to this team, I'm loyal to this team, even if the other team is better. Now, it's about that tribal feeling that we need to push away. We may not agree 100%, but we have to verify the good steps. A second good step he's making sure that the English language is the major language in the United States. For us Spiritists, we should say thank you to him. You know why? Because it's in the plans of the Christ, according to Chico Xavier, that the world's going to come to know of Spiritism through the English language. So we need to secure that tool. Friends, that tribal feeling that we have from many lives, we're loyal to a little group, and even if the other is better, we don't acknowledge, we need to change it and acknowledge. That's time for us to acknowledge. If God is allowing that person to govern, there is a purpose, and today we identified at least two. Hello, Rita Di Cássia, Daniel Castellani, and Mônica somewhere there, and João Bosco. Friends, he says, we often are consumers of other people's thoughts. It's not about buying clothes, it's about buying into each other's minds. Who is thinking for you now? Yourself or somebody else through you? In André Luiz books, we see that very often. How it's so interesting. How other minds connected to us, they enter these pathways. And we're thinking, and like Claudio and Moreira, the incarnate and the discarnate in the book Sex and Destiny, André Luiz shows to us that Claudio thinks he's thinking and feeling and doing something for himself, whereas he's just a puppet in the hands of the discarnate spirits. Rita Di Cássia, thank you for the loving heart, my friend. Consequently, he's talking about consequences. We exaggerate our needs and refuse to adopt simpler standards of living, which could make our life easier. So he's telling the secret why we don't live in simplicity. Because we're consuming other people's thoughts. You know how we can do this? For example, somebody's coming to visit you, and then you decide to renovate your house. Why? Because it needs? No, because I want people to see that I am living. I know people who are like this. It's not about cleaning, which is a matter of love. You clean the house before people visit you, but you clean our house no matter what. But some people, they put on a face, on a show, ego. We're consuming people's thoughts. And then our lives are so complicated. Uncomplicating, learn to leave your mental reflexes. This is what we call emotional, spiritual management. And it begins in self-observation. Why do I need to do this? I'm gonna buy this pen. Why? Why do I need this pen? Don't you have pens? Yes, I do. I wanna buy this pen because somebody who is coming to visit me thinks that beautiful pens, the pens that I have, are not good. So if I buy this one, they're gonna think I'm doing well. Go deep inside, identify and say, do a favor to yourself. Don't buy it. You don't need to be appreciated by that person. Respect them. But you're going to complicate your life and spend some money to prove to them temporarily that you're good in their standards. Believe me, thank God their standards, not God's standards. Because God's standard is so simple. And he's saying, Jesus taught us simplicity. And then we become defensive regarding our demands and cruel towards our neighbors. And then we hurt people and we end up hurting ourselves. When children are little, they go through that egotistic phase very strongly. They learn it's important. They are forming their personality. But parents are afraid of taming that, and we need to tame, not punish, but saying, remember, God is lending us this temporarily, so we can share. Share is care. We gotta share. We gotta care. We gotta share and care. Even the My Little Pony series talks about the school of friendship, how we need to share to show that we care, and this is very important. that we learn from an early age that sharing is the goal. To the point that our little kids go shopping with us and they think of their friends, not only themselves. When we see grown-ups who go shopping and they only buy for themselves and don't buy even for the people who are with them, even for the people they're staying in their homes, etc., it's so sad. It's selfishness. They are consumers of other thoughts. This also causes us to create a complex mechanisms of caution and distrust, and then we become passionately possessive, creating mental reflexes of egotism, and he says here, pride and fear in a vain desire to elude divine laws. And then he says to us, we start living this disillusion syndrome. Because we are in this cycle of ignorance that doesn't want to counteract. We seek to deceive ourselves after birth, only to become completely disillusioned after death. And if you tell people now, let's go, selfless giving is the way to go, they're like, really? No. Because if I don't give this to myself and to myself, other people are going to have it and then I have nothing. And like children. But if I give this to them, I'm not going to keep anything for me. No, don't worry. You'll be okay. So, are we in this disillusion syndrome? We are born and we live an illusion. We discarnate and we're disillusioned. Do you think we can break that cycle in this reincarnation? Do you feel you are prepared to break this cycle? Or have you already broken it up? What do you think? What do you feel? Or are we like here studying and then we wake up tomorrow, or continue our days and we continue the days working in our material life as if we were hunting, and then we go home like, oh, I want to be happy, this life is so hard, what do I do? But next day I justify myself why I keep myself in the illusions of the ego. For example, the greatest illusion is when we think people need to like us. No. When we let go of that need of being liked, being appreciated, being recognized, we're living closer to what Jesus taught us. He never focused on being liked. Truth does not go hand in hand with pleasing people. Paul of Tarsus clearly stated to Barnabas, my friend, if you want to take John Mark to your sister, his mom, go ahead, but I'm not going to change my course. And Barnabas was like, but what about our friendship? And he said, most often than not, friendship with God is incompatible with friendship amongst human beings. Why? Truth and pleasing don't come hand in hand. What about our habit of pleasing everybody, which enslaves us to consuming their mental reflexes? Are you still a prisoner of that? Am I? I confess to you, I'm working on it. There was a day somebody came to our home and wasn't, working in a way that we expected. And I was like, oh, what do I need to do to please this person? And Mentor Joseph said, no, you're not here to please the person. You're here to host with loving kindness, but don't go an extra mile to please just to be liked. You help when help is needed, but not to please for your ego feelings. And I was like, okay. But I feel this thing in me, Joseph. I feel like I want to be liked. He said with a kind smile to me, he said, Vanessa, of course. But God loves you. And I do too. And Jesus does too, and many others. You're not here. It's not about you. It's about her. You need to like her first. And that's what matters here, is that you love first. And do not expect to be loved in return. I was blown away when he explained this to me. Because our ego for many lives need this assurance that we are liked, otherwise we live an unbearable life. What do? I need to love myself and feel the love of God. That's when Jesus told us in the book Good News, John, the most important feature of those who are living this pathway of the good news is loyalty to God, communion with God. And when we are communing with God, we feel one. We feel loved. Once we're loved by God, we can look at ourselves in the mirror and say, I love and approve of yourself. You're a child of God. And then I feel replenished. And then I feel just the need to share this love. No need to be loved in return any longer. Because we're already complete. And we feel complete by giving, not by receiving. St. Francis, because it's in giving that we receive. It's in understanding that we understood. But I want people to understand me. But do you understand people? It's old habits from the past. Right? Ira de Cássio, you're so funny. Say hello to Mentor Joseph. Yeah. Adorable. Felipe. Hello, my friend. I know Mentor Joseph is very loving, like your mentors too. All of our guardian angels, they have a club, Guardian Angels Club. Mentor Joseph is so funny. They have a club, they get together, they are funny, they help us, and they love serving. Ooh, maybe that's a goal for us, one day being the club of guardian angels. Yoo-hoo! Yes, and enjoying. Then we're off of disillusion syndrome, right? The ultimate question today in this habit chapter is this the reincarnation when we are finally gonna break the cycle of illusion, disillusion syndrome? Is it finally? This is the most beautiful reincarnation. It may be the one I say, enough with these illusions of reincarnation in the sense of material goals. They may be the means, but not the end. Hopefully, it's gonna be the one I'm gonna say, I didn't fall trap to the illusions of material life. I lived my life as an immortal spirit, an immortal soul, knowing that sooner or later it's gonna end. How about it? Right? Oh, Rita de Cassia. Yeah, I know. But Constance, remember, even if you can't watch it live, it's here on demand and also on YouTube. at Kardec Radio's YouTube channel, okay? Now, finally, in this last part of the chapter, he gives us more tools. And man is so compassionate. He gives us more. He says, we should not by any means disregard the constructive routine. But it begins in the mind, begins in the feelings, begins as I visualize and outline it. Through it, people evolve in space and time to attain the resources that dignify their lives. Evolution demands that we develop new habits, that we detach ourselves from the lower forms and walk towards higher stages of existence. Friends, 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 constructive routine. Are you ready? Do you already have a constructive routine? Feelings, thoughts, words, and actions. Do you? It's not only about going to work, coming home, eating, sleeping, etc. No. It's about the inner, constructive. Entering the, what André Luiz says, constructive mental currents constantly. And that's how we attune with the guardian angels. Because we're always there. And then it's like, shh, comes and goes. Yeah, when we're off, disconnected. So I need to raise my vibration, enter the constructive mental currents, and once there, woo, it's just that beautiful exchange. As Emmanuel said in a previous chapter, really creating heaven on earth. Possible. And he says, look at Christ. He's our model. He's a divine landmark of human renewal. Do I believe it's possible to change habits now? I don't believe. I know it. You don't believe. You know it. Why? Because it's an accumulation of mental reflexes. If I think of beautiful things, I'm going to manifest them in a beautiful constructive routine. And how can I think of beautiful things? The news? No, unless you are watching and reading goodnewsnetwork.org, which is a real news, positive news. But the Christ Jesus, he says, if you want to renew yourself daily, think of Jesus. Feel Jesus. Visualize him. And the mirror neurons are going to be like, eating. And Rita Dicas is saying, singing, I wanna eat. Apples and bananas of beautiful thoughts. I wanna eat. Apples and bananas of beautiful feelings. I wanna eat apples and bananas of beautiful words. I wanna eat apples and bananas of beautiful acts. It's about beauty, harmony. It's about the new. We need to renew ourselves daily. Do something different, something new constructively. And Rudy is saying, thank you, Rudy. The habit of being aware always. In this last part, he says, Jesus as a whole program of basic spiritual transformations. No violence, friends. I was in DC yesterday and I saw somebody who wrote in a statue in DC, F Trump. I mean, this is violence. Oh, but look what he's doing. But that's his problem, not mine. I'm not going to send him these destructive mental thoughts. If he wants to be destructive, that's his problem. But pray for him. Pray for him. Right? Yeah, I'm going to sing the Pinheirinho Amiguinho for Trump. But that's a Portuguese one, Rita. Let's see what our dear spiritual friends refers to, okay? Jesus altered the moral standards. He offered forgiveness instead of condemnation. Can you forgive the new president for his attitude in the campaign? That's not about being abused. It's about being Christ conscious. Forgiveness doesn't mean we're gonna give him room to do more, but it means we don't hold grudges. We offer the concept of genuine brotherhood like Jesus did. Uplift sadness and discouragement with comfort for the afflicted and the right and the knowledge on how to suffer for the righteous. Friends, Emmanuel says in the book Living Spring, it's not enough to suffer. Actually, the book Seifa de Luz, Harvest of Light, not in that in English, he says, it's not enough to suffer. We need to know how to suffer. And in the Gospel According to Spiritism, we have a beautiful chapter, chapter 5, and there is one item saying, on learning how to suffer, we need to know the meaning of it. If you and I are living at the current time in the United States and in the world and you're suffering or being afflicted by the circumstances, do you think you're a victim? Do I think am I a victim? May I have created this? Yes. Now I need to help, but I only help with constructive routines. It's difficult now, right, Rita? But that's okay. Take it easy. You can tell your heart, we're gonna get there. It's okay. It's okay. We will together. We're beautiful together. Together, okay? Kindness to yourself. Finally, he says we have the obligation to educate ourselves. It's a moral duty. That saying, that's how I am and that's who I am and that's it, no. For us, Spiritists, no. An obligation to educate, to serve. Creating these everyday habits by doing what? Cooperating. Remember, God is the operator. We're the co-operator. He's the pilot. We're the co-pilots. He's the creator. We're the co-creators. Co-creating, co-operating towards the safety and the happiness of all beings, including plants, animals, humans, even at the cost of our own sacrifice. Millennia have brought to us unreasonable attitudes. It's about time for us to say, I have the courage today to say, this person did a wonderful job. Thank you very much. Good spirits are about to reincarnate, and if we don't secure through new laws against abortion, they're not going to reincarnate. And many others who need to reincarnate for Earth to evolve. Do you understand now why this president was elected? Why he needed to be here? Little by little we will understand. And I'm not advocating for him because I voted for him. It's not political. But right now, we need to team up with the good spirits. And if we need resistance, it's regard our own moral shortcomings. That's how we can help. It's not about paying attention, condemning the others. And not even ourselves, but it's in educating ourselves. How do we educate ourselves? Emmanuel says, by serving and cooperating for people's happiness and safety. A good habit to acquire, making people happy. How about it? Try to make one people happy every day. make people happy. Doesn't mean you're gonna solve their problems. But you know, maybe they want coffee. Go to the drive-through line and buy coffee for somebody behind you, even if you don't know the person. Make their day. Why not? Do something. Smile. Right? And then we can sing for them. We can play with them. Or be silent. We can make people happy also by being silent. Sometimes that's the case, right? And by cleaning, cooking, you don't need to spend money. By dressing up in an agreeable way, right? And then singing to people, oh happy day, oh happy day, when Jesus walks. Oh, he walks, oh happy day, oh happy day. That's a new habit. Wake up every day and say, today I'm gonna make somebody happy today. How about that habit? Can we create a constructive routine by aiming at that goal, but making them happy, not temporarily, giving them something that is everlasting, making them feel important. Today at the center, people are saying, oh, let's ask our children to put some hearts in the water bottles we're gonna give to the homeless. That's it. Make them feel loved. Make somebody feel loved. And we'll feel the love. You're feeling the love? With Jesus, we always feel loved. Right, Master? He's here smiling. And we smile. And give each other a hug. And tomorrow, we're gonna enter another understanding, another tool, creating new habits, fulfilling our duties. Chapter 21 is about duty. Heavy duty? I don't know. Come back. 11 p.m. It's already January 24th, 12:02 Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you hopefully, God allowing us, at 11 p.m. for one more day in our 30 days of inner journey. Your thought, your life. Thank you.